He doesn't realize he's already a part of the never-ending story.
The never-ending story? What's that?
Just as he is sharing all your adventures, others are sharing his. They were with him when he hid from the boys in the bookstore.
But that's impossible!
They were with him when he took the book with the orange symbol on the cover, in which he's reading his own story right now.
Hush Your Face is coming straight to your ears. A podcast network that's changing gears, bringing fresh funky pods with a fresh funky beat. A family of pods that are bringing the heat. There ain't no stopping us. Keep coming back to us, sick ass pods that'll make you hush. www Hush Your Face. www Hush Your Face. www
HushYourFace.com. Yeah, Jason Galbraith. Jason, everybody, Jason, from the 3 is Comedy Podcast, also on the HushYourFace.com network. No, the Hush Your Face network at www.hushyourface.com. Jason, I think I just did a promo for the 3 is Comedy Podcast, dude. Send me some money. Awesome. Seriously though, you guys, listen to 3 is Comedy. They're also they are awesome and fun and super entertaining on the Hush Your Face network. So I just had an awesome, super fun conversation with Tami Stronach from the NeverEnding Story, the Childlike Empress from the NeverEnding Story. I had so much fun. It's a shorter podcast than I normally do. I mean, I could have sat here for 2-3 hours and just talked to her. I mean, I could have done a solid hour on the NeverEnding Story, because if you're like me, you might not be, but if you grew up in the 80s, the NeverEnding Story is a movie you saw. I don't know if I know anybody who has not seen this movie. It's a staple in my childhood. It's one of those movies that you watch over and over and over and over because it's amazing, and also because you were given a VHS tape. Yeah, VHS. You guys should know. VHS is not one of those discs. It's like this big brick. It looks like a brick. Like a brick you would build a wall with. Right? You stick this in this other bigger brick machine, and then you press play. And sometimes the tape would get screwed up, and it would get tangled up in there and rip, and then you'd be really mad. But yeah, VHS tapes. When you're younger, you just watched them because you had only a few of them, so you'd really watch them over and over. But the NeverEnding Story is so awesome. I have so many great memories from it. And this to get Tami on the podcast was really something special, really awesome. So we talked for about 30 minutes, and I didn't really do a real introduction like I normally do. So I'm gonna do some of that stuff right now just to get it out of the way. So let me pull out my big boy tablet. Okay. So this is episode 98. Episode 98. I did 98 episodes of a podcast. I want to say I did it solo. I mean, I do all the editing, and I do all the recording and the producing, all that stuff. But I've had like so many awesome guests. I have, and I'm really I'm really excited all the time, constantly, when I get to have guests on and talk to people, whether it be like friends or podcasters or actors or musicians. I just have so much fun doing this podcast. It's honestly my biggest high out of the entire week, is to do this podcast. And I wish I had 3 hours to talk to Tami. I really do. This is a great podcast. If you're a Tami fan and not yet a Sean fan, my name is Sean, of course. And this is my podcast. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Come back. Listen to some other episodes. Check it out. You might be surprised. And you might be also terrified, because I do weird improv skits, and sometimes things get a little risque. But this is the most straightforward interview I've done to date. So relax. Have fun right now. And enjoy this one. You guys, if anybody wants to send me a voicemail, feel free to do that. I got the 100th episode coming up. If you guys want to tack on, I'll tack on as many voicemails as I can. So just send me a voicemail and say whatever, and I'll tack it on there. I'll stick it in the podcast somewhere, even if I get 100 of them, and I have to have a 100-hour podcast because each voicemail is an hour long. I will put them all in there. I might have to break that up into segments if it's really 100 hours. But yeah, that voicemail number is 510-600-3475. That's just a voicemail. I won't answer and say hello. That's a voicemail. It'll go to a little message saying you leave a voicemail. I'll play it on that episode. Say specifically it's for that episode if you do leave a voicemail. People are scared of voicemails. I don't know why. If you guys want to send me an email, you can at horriblyawkwardpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to do it the old school way and type things out, which I'm way too lazy to type things out. That's why I like Twitter. Twitter's like 100 and what? How many? Twitter's like 100 and something characters, 140, 150 characters. I don't know. Either way, I have to really tighten it up. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay in very small bursts. Okay, look, you guys, I know you're sick of hearing me talk. You're here for Tami. I appreciate it. As long as you're here, and I'm happy. I'm really happy about that. But let's get right into the podcast. Tami Stronach from the NeverEnding Story. Hey, Norma. Yeah, you know what to do. Give us a horribly awkward.
Horribly awkward.
Horribly awkward. That's horrible. I can't even control myself. It's so horribly awkward.
This is so awkward.
It's so awkward.
This is horribly awkward. No one off. Horribly awkward.
Horribly awkward.
Horribly awkward. Horribly awkward.
Horribly awkward.
Horribly awkward.
Sean, dude, you're horribly awkward.
Sean, I know you think this is weird, but it's not as weird as you think it is, dude.
Don't do that, it's awkward.
Welcome to a very special episode of Horribly Awkward, episode 98. I'm getting so close to 100, I think I'm getting scared. With me today is a very talented actress, choreographer, dancer, theater performer from the iconic 1984 film The NeverEnding Story, the Childlike Empress herself. Everybody, give a warm welcome to Tami Stronach!
Thank you so much for
Settle
that
down.
super warm welcome. Thank you.
Yes. I'm really excited. This is so fun. I'm sure you're sick of hearing NeverEnding Story. Like, guys, I do so much more than the NeverEnding Story. That was so long ago.
No, I'm really not. And I think it's because I took such a long break from talking about it. It's, obviously I didn't continue to make films. I went on to do dance and live theater. And so for me, I took such a tremendously long break from talking about it or thinking about it that coming back to it now is, I don't know, it's like it's nostalgic in the way that nostalgia is good, like not bad. And I have a kid, and it's so fun for me that this was a children's film, and that now she is interested in it, and so I'm really enjoying the opportunity to kind of revisit it and connect with people and discuss our shared 80s childhood.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So you have a daughter. How old is your daughter?
My daughter is 6. Her
That's
name
like
is
on the edge.
Maya. Yeah.
That's like on the edge of, because I remember watching this because I was born in 80, so I was roughly 4 or 5 years old when I watched it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of dark and scary. There's a lot of really dark creatures and
Yes.
and there's those 2 guard things. I forget what they're called, but like they're just
So
like
the Sphinxes.
yeah, they're like topless. I remember seeing
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was made in Germany. So totally, it's so funny. They don't really think about stuff like that there. Yeah, it is. And I haven't shown her the film because she's very, very sensitive. And when like the starfish, is a fish swims by it in some cartoon, she's like, oh no, the starfish will get scared. So her threshold for scary stuff is pretty low, and I don't want to traumatize her. So we've talked about the story. She knows the story, and she's seen pictures, and she has little action figurines that I have of the movie that she plays with. But I think I'm going to wait till she's 8, just so that, she's not like, don't ever show me that horrible, scary thing again. I want her to love it,
Yeah, it's one of those things that I remember so fondly. And when I think of the 80s, I think of NeverEnding Story, Short Circuit, The Goonies, Batteries Not Included. Like, a lot of these movies stick out. But the NeverEnding Story is one that I can almost picture the entire movie in my head. And I just have such great memories, and I remember just sitting there and watching it. But it is dark, like that swamp of sadness. I mean, that's scary stuff.
It totally is. It totally is. No, and I think the reason the film seems to last in people's psyches and hearts is I think it's an entertaining film and it's a cute film, but it's actually a pretty profound film. It has a lot of pretty deep, intense messages inside of it. So, I mean, I think that the author really managed to kind of touch on a lot of really amazing themes inside of seemingly this kind of sweet, innocent, whimsical story.
Yeah, I just looked at the running time of it. I was like, how long is this movie? In my head, I was picturing like a 3-hour movie because it's been a long time since I've seen it. And I was like, an hour and a half. Wow, they really knock a lot of stuff out in an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, films have gotten longer, haven't they? I feel like when I go to the movies now, there's like 2.5 hour films.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If you see a movie that's 90 minutes, it's like, oh, this is only 90 minutes? But when maybe it's because we were all traumatized. That's why. It's like the NeverEnding Story just traumatized us and left this imprint in our brains.
I hope not. That sounds terrible.
In a good way, though. There's good. You can be traumatized in a good way. There's great ways to be traumatized. But the most terrifying part of the film is actually like the 3 bullies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's real. That's something like I've never been stuffed in a dumpster, but I did deal with a lot of bullying when I was younger. I would let people walk over me and just take my stuff.
You just weren't mean. That's being awesome. That's not. I mean, the terrible thing is there really are bullies in the world, and there really are people out there who would like to, find their own sense of self-worth by being mean to other people. And I think, I don't know, I love the NeverEnding Story for making the hero this dreamer who just doesn't have a mean bone in his body. I think, that is sort of one of the reasons, another reason that I think it sticks with people is that, we all kind of want to fight for the little guy to win. And it's one of those, there's so many stories like that, right? Like Dave and Goliath, and it's when the little guy wins against the big meanies that we celebrate. So
no, it gets us so excited, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you watch a sports movie and it's like the team that is not good at all, and then they win in the end. You're like, yes, because they had to overcome that. Totally. So then the Childlike Empress. She, technically not in the film that much, but the movie is mostly about her to get save Fantasia. I mean, that's gotta. You're the Childlike Empress, Tami.
Well, no. Technically, I'm not her. I was just acting.
You are the Childlike Empress. This is real.
Yeah. Well, but I feel like, for me, when people ask me what do I really enjoy about having had the opportunity to play that amazing character, I think it's a little bit like the bully thing, like celebrating a hero who is, the underdog. And the same thing with the Childlike Empress. She's this very powerful figure, and she is really instrumental in saving the day, but she's not doing that through brawn. I love a superhero movie, and it's super cathartic to be able to beat up the bad guys. So
Yes.
I'm not saying that that's bad or not cathartic, because it can be, but I think it's also really interesting that in this film, she sort of exemplified power when she was totally still, when she was really sick and physically small and weak, and that her power really came from just being really empathetic and really wise. And I love that. I love that as a little girl, I was given the opportunity to play this really powerful figure, but she derived her power from things that we don't always appreciate, like just being still and calm and patient and emotionally wise, these sort of much kind of gentler attributes that overcome, darkness.
Yeah, so you were a very young girl. You're presented with this role. You got to be in this movie that at the time you weren't, you didn't know this is going to be the NeverEnding story, a movie people are still going to be talking about 30 years from now. And you just had to sit down and talk peacefully, and that was it. Now you're in an awesome movie. You just chill, hang out, kind of, very calm. And I believe that one scene you're just like sitting on a bed the entire time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The funny thing is, the first scene, I'm only in 2 scenes. The first scene, I had this gorgeous, elaborate set that I got to sit on, sort of this cake-like, pearl-like set. But the second scene, which is in darkness, there is no set. There's 2 chairs and like me holding a little Christmas light in my hand. So, because the second scene is in the darkness when he's having to make wishes about what's to come. So in some ways, it's very funny. The 2 scenes are really juxtaposed. One has all the technical brilliance of a film and this like really massive set, and the second scene has all the simplicity of, in some ways, like a little theater scene, just 2 actors, 2 chairs, and a tiny little light bulb.
Yeah, like 2 spotlights on them, right? That's so awesome. So I have so much to talk about. I know we don't have a lot of time. I just want to sit here and talk to you forever. But you guys, you and your family were not the typical Hollywood family, and you actually walked away from that life right after that. Am I right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. My parents were archaeologists, and also my mother's Israeli and my father is Scottish. And so we immigrated to the U.S. when I was 8, and so in many ways, just Hollywood and Hollywood culture was very, very, very foreign to our family. And after the film, we kind of thought we did this small little European film nobody would ever hear about or know about.
Nobody.
And then it sort of, had a lot more reach than we had anticipated, and it was very overwhelming. I was really overwhelmed, and I didn't really know that I would be able to handle celebrity well. I think the 80s were also a really different time for kids in the movies. I think now there's a lot more sort of care to maybe help navigate kids through those transitions. I think some child actors grow up to be phenomenal adult actors, and they figure it out and they know what they're doing, and that's super awesome. But for me and for my family, it was just like Mars. We were just like, whoa. And I got offered some really strange, somewhat inappropriate scripts after the film, and we all just looked at each other and were like, you know what, maybe if you want to get back to this later in life, you will. But for right now, we're gonna skip it. And I feel so blessed to have been part of the NeverEnding story. I feel like it's just like the best part of what Hollywood has to offer. It's this awesome story that brought really amazing, talented designers and just artists and creative people together. And I feel so lucky to have been a part of it. And I also feel really glad that, I didn't feel pressured to necessarily continue on and experience the parts of celebrity that aren't so healthy for a young person growing up. So that was the choice that I made. But now, in my 40s, after a life of spending time in the theater and in the dance world, and having all of my herniated discs kind of revolt against me and say, no more dancing, Tami, I formed this company, Paper Canoe.
Yes, yeah.
And it's been so lovely. We did a play that ran in New York. First, we did it as part of the New Victory Theater, as LabWorks residency, and a theater off on Broadway and 42nd Street. And then we did it again in Brooklyn for a run. And now we're going to be turning that whole play into podcasts, so people can download and hear the story. And so I've been acting again, and it's really fun to almost like coming home just to this thing that was such a huge part of my childhood. So I've been really, really enjoying returning, and I've been doing some singing. We just released an album for families, and that's another thing I did when I was a child. So it's funny. I feel like I'm in my sort of mid-career kind of revisiting a lot of the same things that I was really interested in as a kid. And having a kid, all of those things have relevance to her. So it's been a really nice thing to come home to these early interests that I had.
Yeah, so you just blew my mind. You guys are going to make podcasts?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Podcasting is so great because you could listen and do it while you do other things, which is awesome. I love that.
Yeah. It's a great format, and it's acting, but just through audio. So I love the imagination that a podcast can spark, because just with a little bit of music and a little bit of ambiance, it's really like the imagination is your only limit. You can really build these sort of vivid worlds through sound. Yeah. That's one thing. Because when I do improv skits, normally on episodes, I go in and I add sound effects, footsteps, whatever, tinkering in the background. So when you're listening to these improv skits, it's like you get this whole idea of what's going on. And also, I'm terrible at improv, so the sound effects make it seem more interesting than it really is. I don't believe that. So we're doing and I just made a little music video that features my daughter, which is so fun, and she had a blast. So we're kind of it's an interesting time where I'm kind of revisiting a lot of new territory and starting to be interested in digital media after spending 20 years just focusing on live performances. So it's fun to give yourself an opportunity to change course and keep growing at a time when you're supposed to kind of stop moving and just settle down and,
No, never settle down. Be a shark, Tami. Just keep going.
That's right.
Always keep moving.
So I feel like, in some ways, there's something exciting about refusing to kind of pin yourself down and to just keep experimenting and keep going in new directions.
Yeah, that is awesome. I think live performances, I feel like the high would be so great. It's like the instant feedback. You look around, you see people watching. I know theater, most of the time, people are quiet and really, really paying attention. But I just could imagine. Like, I don't know if I could ever do a live podcast. I think I'd freak out. But I have dreams of doing this.
That's a good idea, though. Oh, my God. I love the idea of a live podcast. Then you could hear the audience's response. It's kind of fun. It combines it.
Maybe if I was Kevin Smith and I lived in LA and had this big audience, but I live in Fresno, California. I don't even know if I could do a live podcast here, and it would probably just be me and Amir, but at least that'd be two people.
Is Amir a name or a mirror that you're looking into?
Amir, I'm looking into Amir, so it's me. Amir could be a name though too.
It could be. I just didn't know if you had a friend named Amir that really likes your podcasts.
I need a meet a friend named Amir now. That'd be awesome. So so Paper Canoe Company is like the umbrella over all your other stuff, right? Beanstalk Jack and all that.
Yeah. So Paper Canoe is, we just call it a family entertainment company, and we are making podcasts, we make live shows, we make puppet shows. We have this new folk rock album that we are releasing, and next October and all of February, we're performing on weekends in New York. So we're still doing the shows live. And then one of the songs from that album we turned into a music video, and that was so much fun that I want to make more music videos. And actually, we started talking about my husband and I potentially the seeds of writing a script and maybe doing a little bit of like a short film. So yeah, I kind of feel like my roots are sort of shaking, and this return to some of my early preoccupations is really coming to the fore. And the truth is, I mean, the choreography has been so instrumental because I'm able to choreograph all the videos. I'm able to help with the blocking and choreography for the shows. And puppetry is really, really related to dance, having a kind of clear sense of how to move things. And so for many years, I was sort of confused. I was like, oh, I like all these different things. I like theater, but I like dance, but I like singing, but I like puppetry. And it all felt like they were pulling me in different directions.
Yeah, I can see that.
And now it's sort of this moment where I'm like, oh, I can just stick all of this stuff together and they can help each other. And so that's really my goal, is just to bring all the things that I love into one big salad bowl and have some fun.
That's awesome. So speaking of puppets, when you were on the set of the NeverEnding story, did you see like the Falcor puppet or the rock biter?
Yes, I did.
How big is the rock biter? Is that actually like huge, or is it just the way the camera is made to make it look
it's
big?
Huge. I mean, that film was so extraordinary in that really there's just very little CGI. Everything you see is that size, that big, that real. In the Swamps of Sadness, literally you went into this circus tent that went on for a couple city blocks. I don't even know how they did it. They just shipped in so much mud on these huge trucks, and there were trees. And once you walked inside of this tent, you couldn't see the edges of the tent because there was like fog in there. And I mean, the sets were massive, just massive. And the puppets were massive. I think, it was, I mean, as far as I understand, it was the most expensive film they ever made in Germany, and the budget was really large, and they really did create these incredible puppets and set, and each puppet had several people working levers on the side, so it was never like a single person operating. The scale of that production is staggering, really.
That's awesome, because nowadays it would just be a small little kiddie pool with some mud in it and a green screen.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, sort of, I think that people are starting to recognize the value of like the tactile, real. Animatronics seems to be this sort of bridge between the old-fashioned puppet world and the CGI world, and there are some new films that are doing a really amazing job with animatronics and finding the balance between something that's physically there and green screen. So every technology seems to take a while to not get overused.
Yeah, definitely. Star Wars does it great. They have a lot of CGI, but they have a lot of practical effects, and it makes it makes it seem more special.
Definitely.
Okay, so we got about 5 minutes here, Tami. Paper Canoe Company. If you have any links you want to send me, I could put it down in the description. If you have any YouTube links or any other kind of links, I don't know if there's any videos you want people to check out. I've seen some of your promo stuff for Paper Canoe Company and the Beanstalk Jack on YouTube.
Well, I will have this new video of a song called Hey Wow Let's Dance. And that's going to be out and ready in about a week. So I will definitely give you a link to that. But people can just go to my website at www.tamistronach.com. Not the easiest name to spell. Unfortunately, I have a Gaelic last name, Stronach.
Stronach. I like that. Let me try that.
Yeah.
Everybody, welcome Tami Stronach. Did I do good?
Exactly. So, but if you go there, it kind of divides into a dance website for my dance-related items and Paper Canoe, and there's news, and we have an Etsy shop with some really cute items that we're also making for kids, some lesson plans that are going up on the education part of the website. So there's a lot of stuff to check out at papercanoecompany.com. And yeah, I'll absolutely send you some other links. And if people want to reach out to me on Twitter, you can always find me at NeverEnding Tami, and on Instagram at Tami Stronach _.
You know, Tami, I'll just admit, you're nothing but positive and happy energy, and I could feel it when I talk to you, and I've heard other interviews. You were on my friend's podcast, The Hollywood Outsider, with Aaron and Scott.
Yeah.
Those are close friends of mine, great podcasting buddies. They've been on this podcast a bunch. And then when I heard you on there and a couple other podcasts, I was like, I really got to reach out and talk to Tami, because you just seem so positive. I love positive energy, and you are full of it. If you could bottle some of that up and send it to Fresno, I'll give you my address. I'll take some positive energy. I would love that.
I'm sending you a whole bunch of positive energy right now. I'm really doing it.
My Skype is not accepting. Oh, I feel it. Oh, this is great. It feels awesome. I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. This has been a pleasure. And I could sit here and talk to you for hours.
Thank you so much for having me. And this was not awkward. It wasn't horribly awkward, and it wasn't even a little bit awkward.
Well, come back sometime. We'll make it horribly awkward. We'll do improv skits, and we'll light the neighbors' bushes on fire.
Sounds good. Okay. Take care.
Oh, wait, Tami, before you go, you wanted to play a song, right?
Yes. This is the title track from our Beanstalk Jack album, and not surprisingly, it is called Beanstalk Jack.
Awesome. So we're going to play that right now, everybody. Stay tuned. And thank you, Tami.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
There it is. Episode 98. Freaking 98. 98 episodes. It's a lot of episodes. Thank you for listening. I really do appreciate it so much. So much. How'd you guys feel about me doing a smaller, sweet, and short, to-the-point interview like that? I know it's not typically what I do, but you're going to see more of them. You're definitely going to see more of them. I want to say thank you to Tami. Tami, you are so sweet, and I am so happy and thrilled that I did not contaminate your positive energy, because I have a tendency to do that, and I didn't. So I'm actually proud of myself. This is the first interview that I've ever done, or first podcast I've ever done of my own without any curse words. Zero foul language. Not even an S-bomb. Just nothing. It was very clean, family friendly. You can listen to this with your kids, and I think it would be all right. Maybe I should go back and check, but I think it would be pretty okay for you to do that. Okay, Tami sent me 2 songs. I'm going to play those right now. Those 2 songs are Beanstalk Jack and Still Away. So they're very catchy. They're family-oriented, clean, fun songs. Don't blame me when they get stuck in your head. When you're walking down the street going, dun, 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 to the Beanstalk Jack. Dun, 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 live in the shack. Don't blame me. This is all Tami. It's all the Paper Canoe Company. It's all the... It's awesome. You guys are going to love it. If you guys want to send me a voicemail, you can at 510-600-3475. Send me one. The 100th episode's coming up. I'd love to play any voicemails you want to send me. You can send me a voicemail. Yeah, I already said that, but you can send me a email if you want at horriblyawkwardpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at awkward_podcast. And you can also find my personal Twitter account at theycallmeiams. Iams is spelled just like the dog food, IAMS. If you're a gamer, good luck! You can find me on every platform as They Call Me Iams. So send me a friend request, and let's game it up a little bit. Let's do something. You know, right now I'm playing Splatoon 2 on the Nintendo Switch, and I'm addicted. It's so addicting. I'm actually sitting there playing it in the mornings before I go to work. Or not before I go to work. after I go to work because I work nights. So in the morning, I'm sitting there playing it in bed like an addict. So much fun. So we've reached the end. Stick around for Tami's songs. You guys are going to enjoy them. And don't blame me when they're stuck in your head.
This is the story about Beanstalk Jack. Lives with his mama in a little old shack. Went out walking and he hasn't come back. Don't you worry about Beanstalk Jack. He went up, 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 up so high, up, up, up to the sky. Don't know why. Now his head's in the clouds and he's fancy free, taller now than the tallest tree. Head's in the clouds and he's fancy free. He's a poor boy with nothing to lose. Jack and his mama got the empty belly blues. When luck comes calling, he can't refuse. Takes his chances in his traveling shoes. He goes up, 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 up so high, up, up, up to the sky. In the clouds and he's fancy free, taller now than the tallest tree. Heads in the clouds and he's fancy free. Happened far away and long ago. It's mighty peculiar as stories go. The more you learn, the less you know. If you sing along, we'll start the show. We go up, 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 up so high, up, up, up to the sky. Up, 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 don't know why. Now our heads in the clouds and we're fancy free, taller now than the tallest tree. Heads in the clouds and we're fancy free. Now we can't see you and we can't see me.
Steal away, steal my heart. Steal away, steal my heart. Come away with me, let's run, never look back. Come away with me, let's run, never look back.
Steal away with my heart. Steal away with my heart. I will run away with you, run and never look back. I will run away with you, run steal away my heart of gold. I will sing for you, my love, who'll never grow old. I will sing for you, my love, who'll never grow old. And I will steal this heart of gold. And I will steal this heart of gold. And I will steal this heart of gold. Steal away, steal my heart. Steal away, steal my heart. Come away with me, let's run and never look back. Come away with me, let's run and never look back. Steal away with my heart. Steal away with my heart. I will run away with you, run and never look back. I will run away with you, run and never look back. And I will steal this heart of gold. And I will steal this heart of gold. And I will steal this heart of gold. And I will steal this heart of gold.
Oh, yeah, that's a horribly awkward show.